cystic fibrosis. See, I've got cystic fibrosis.
I've always found it kind of ironic that my CF is the main aspect of my life that makes traveling so hard, but it's also the main reason why I want to travel so badly. Knowing that CF could potentially affect the amount of time I have on this earth has always given me a deep desire and even need to see as much of the world as I can. It's always hard to describe to people who don't have CF why I'm so obsessed with traveling. But when you're looking at an unknown future, I don't see a point in waiting until next year to go on a new adventure, experience a new culture, or visit a new country. I see a chance now, while I am able and healthy enough to do all that I want, so that one day, when they do find a cure, or when I'm sitting in a hospital bed for my last time, I can look back on my life and have no regrets. Now, when I say I'm obsessed with traveling, that is honestly an understatement. Despite CF, I've been able to travel all over the world. I've been able to experience many different things, meet amazing people I would have never otherwise even known, eaten amazing food, and played with some rather extraordinary animals along the way. This is probably one of my favorite topics that we're going to do here on Staying Salty, because I guarantee you, any questions you have about traveling with CF, I've dealt with. This year alone, I've already traveled to 2 different countries, 8 different states within the US, and been on over 50 airplanes. So you can say I know a thing or two about traveling with CF. I've done my treatments in a car, on a 17-hour train ride, during a 16-hour international flight at 30,000 feet, on a boat, pretty much anywhere you can think of, I've done it. Now I know it's hard, sometimes nerve-wracking, and even scary to travel with CF and everything that comes along with it. But if you do want to travel, don't let CF be the one thing that holds you back from doing what you want. With this video, I want to give you some of my tips and tricks that I've picked up through my travels about how to see the world despite having CF. Now the first may seem kind of strange and unrelated to traveling, but it is to become comfortable with yourself and your CF. Believe me, I know it's a lot easier said than done, but hear me out. When I first began traveling, I was somewhat afraid or cautious about telling people or showing them about my CF. I would get hotel rooms by myself so I could do my treatments alone, and I was just not very open with people about it. Not because I was ashamed, but because I didn't know how people that I had never met would react. As I've continued to travel, I have realized that the more open I am, the better my trip has been. Now, when I say open, I don't mean it was something I talked about all day, every day. I mean, I didn't try and hide it. My last trip, and probably my best trip so far, related to this topic, was in Costa Rica. I was in a hotel room with 3 different girls, only one of whom I'd met once before on a different trip. And I had just decided to be very open about my CF. This trip was through a travel company and had about 40 other people on it, all around my age. And by the end of it, everyone knew about my CF. I would do my treatments with the door open. I would talk to anyone who had questions. And with there being a lot of hiking in Costa Rica, a lot of people would actually stay back with me because they understood it would take me longer to hike the mountain than anyone else. And after that, people would even tell me how amazing they thought it was that I wasn't letting CF stop me from doing what I wanted. And that honestly made me feel so amazing. This is why I am saying to be open and comfortable with yourself. It wasn't until I let down my barriers with CF that I was able to be my true self, to relax and enjoy everything even more. And if anything, it made me feel better because I wasn't hiding anything. And the responses from my fellow travelers were so supportive and positive that it made my trip so much better. Now that brings me to my next tip. For me, travel companies seem to work best with traveling in my CF, especially internationally, because I do travel alone. I just enjoy it. There is one that I've done a few times called Education First, or EF, but the reason I like these preset travel packages is because it really takes a lot of the what could be stress and anxiety out of traveling alone out of it. Because with CF, it's hard to do what a lot of other 23-year-olds do and bounce around from hotel to hotel throughout a new country. With refrigerated meds, treatment schedules, and everything else that we have to deal with, trying to figure out how to get from point A to point B on top of traveling in a new country would just be a lot for me to handle. Also, it allows me to meet new people that I would never otherwise meet who have the same lust for traveling that I do. And unlike booking everything on your own, travel companies usually provide insurance so that if I were to get sick a week before the trip, I don't lose any money. And as a CFer with somewhat unpredictable health at times, that is a big plus. So now down to the more nitty-gritty of traveling. How the hell do I travel with all my medications? Well, it's honestly really simple. For starters, I have definitely had a nebulizer break on me before and had to get a new one on the fly. So I do bring a portable backup nebulizer just in case in my checked bag. This one is my normal nebulizer I use every day, and this one is my backup. Both run on batteries or can be plugged in so that I can do them anywhere if I need to. Next is all my pills. Now, I personally don't like using pill bottles because I have had one too many of them explode in my suitcase. What I like to do instead, especially with my enzymes, usually the drug companies leave a good bit of air in the pill bottles, so I top them off with about half a bottle of enzymes so that I can consolidate from at least 3 to 2, so I don't have as many enzymes bottles rolling around in my suitcase. The rest, I either bring the normal bottle like my vitamins, but if it is something I take once a day or once every other day, I usually put them in a smaller pill container instead of bringing each individual bottle to cut down on space. For my inhaled medications, I usually put them all into a bag to keep them together and make it easier for when I do treatments. Instead of a cooler, I usually just use a large ice pack and put my refrigerated medication in a bag with the ice pack into my carry-on. Most hotels have fridges for you in the room, or even I've used the hotel restaurant fridge or staff fridge before because they didn't, but you can always make it work. And finally, this is my favorite part, and it is my vest. Now, I know a lot of people don't like traveling with their vest, but I personally really like traveling with my vest. I feel like I'm getting just as good of a treatment as I would at home while I'm traveling. This vest I got specifically because I do travel so much. If you notice, there's no hoses, no compressor, and it's virtually silent. This is my Aflo vest, and instead of air percussion, it uses electronic pulses to vibrate pads within the vest. It's also battery operated so that I can walk around, be on a plane, really anywhere, and still do my vest. I honestly love this thing so much, and it does take up some room, but not near as much room as other vests do. Now, if you're worried about security, TSA, or customs, I've honestly never had any issues. I do travel with a doctor's note just in case, but I've never been asked for it or had any trouble getting through security. Yes, most of the times they're going to pull you aside and ask to look in the bag, but it's usually very simple and only takes a few minutes and goes something like this.
What do you use this for?
I have a cystic fibrosis, so it helps break up mucus in my lungs.
It works?
Yeah, it essentially vibrates your entire chest. Kind of like how when you run, start coughing. Similar to that.
Does it come up out of your throat?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if it just sits there to collect bacteria, but Of course I have to lug this thing around with me like an iron lung.
Alright, we're all set.
All right. Thank you. If you have any questions when it comes to traveling and CF or anything else, I'll put my email and the link to my social media accounts down below. But essentially for my video, I want you to take away, if you do want to travel, do it. Don't let CF stop you. There's that saying that if there's a will, there's a way. So get out there and see the world. I hope you enjoyed my video. Sorry it was on the longer side. I honestly could talk about this topic all day long. But thanks for watching. Be sure to check out everybody else's videos and subscribe. Leave your comments and leave your stories down below. And thanks for watching. Have a great day. See ya.